Today's recipe is a brownie recipe, and it's not just any brownie recipe, it's a chocolate chip brownie recipe. And in addition to 8 ounces of chocolate and a cup of chocolate chips, it also has a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. So it's an extra rich and delicious chocolate chip brownie recipe. This was 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate and 1 stick of unsalted butter. Those need to melt together over a pot of simmering water or over a boiling water bath. Make sure that the bottom of your bowl is not touching the water. If you're doing this when you're setting it up yourself with a bowl and a pot instead of using a double boiler, which some people do have, just because you want to make sure that the bottom doesn't scorch. Keep it over pretty low heat and let it melt. And while you're working on that, you can get your dry ingredients together. It's 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm using Dutch process. You could probably make the same recipe using regular cocoa powder if you want to. It'll be a little bit lighter, but it still has a nice rich flavor. Calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm using coarse salt, so I'm gonna actually use a teaspoon. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Not all brownie recipes call for a leavener like this, but this recipe gets a little bit of lightness from some baking powder. Whisk that together. Give your chocolate a check. You don't want it to burn. I have it on very low right now just so I can multitask. When your chocolate and butter have melted together, it's almost completely melted. Not completely, but I'm going to remove it from the heat now. It's still warm and the carryover cooking will melt the rest of that butter. To this, add 1 1/4 cups of sugar. You're going to add eggs too, but I like to add the sugar first and start beating it in so it dissolves a little bit. 3 large eggs. I like to whisk my eggs in, give a little bit of additional leavening, and also this whisking of the eggs with the sugar and the chocolate is what helps give that crackly crust that you expect on a brownie. So don't skimp on the whisking. I feel like in some recipes I've read/written, I've said to whisk it for like 30 or 40 seconds. I don't know, maybe that's excessive. Maybe it's not necessary. I don't know. Then your dry ingredients can go in. This is when I get cocoa powder all over me. You might want to switch to a spatula at this point because what happens with cake batters that are thick like this, or brownie batters, that's what this is, they get super thick and they get stuck in the whisk, and that's no fun. And then when you try to bang it out of the whisk, it gets all over you and then you get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Lastly, the chocolate chips, 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I guess if you're a white chocolate fan, you could use white chocolate chips here. I don't believe in white chocolate. I'm just kidding. I mean, I do believe in it. And my daughter, Michaela, it's her favorite. She doesn't like real chocolate, like dark chocolate. She'll eat milk chocolate, but it's not her favorite. She loves white chocolate, which I don't even believe is really chocolate. Rude, right? Okay. This is a 9 by 9 inch pan. It's buttered and then lined with parchment. I've left an overhang on 2 sides so it's easier to lift out once it cools. Transferred the batter to your prepared baking pan, and then you're going to want to smooth the top with an offset spatula. 350 oven. You want to cook it until a cake tester inserted in the center comes out with moist crumbs. That'll take between 50 and 60 minutes. Okay, you gotta wait till they cool, and then you can lift them out using the parchment, which is a perfect tool for that, and then cut into slices. The recipe says 2-inch squares, so I'll do something sort of like that. If you find that your blade is getting kind of sticky, you can wipe it off, or you can dip it into a water bath while you're working and then wipe it off. I did it kind of unevenly. Sorry. This part's for the people who only want a tiny bite. You know those people, right? They're always like, I just want a little bit. And over here we have our the people that admit that they actually really love dessert, like me. a moist, dense, chocolatey interior, a crackly top, the perfect brownie. Really chewy, really chocolatey, really fantastic. Enjoy. If you like recipes like this and you want more, make sure to click like and subscribe because we have plenty more where this came from.